Very rarely am I focused on a college football game with two unranked teams that have no chance to play for a national championship. But this game fascinates me. I like Nebraska in this one. There's some things here that we should now start to admit. Deion Sanders' last 6 games against like power conference teams, he's 0-6. The transfer portal, once again, they signed the largest transfer portal class, over 40 players in the country. It's starting to feel a little bit at Colorado like a timeshare presentation. Lots of bells and whistles. Champagne to anybody that signs. And then 2 years later, you're hiring an attorney and trying to get out of it. I'm sorry, but Nebraska is the opposite of Colorado. They play real defense. They recruit high school kids. They're very good at the details. They just had to get better at quarterback. Actually, Colorado's great at quarterback. They'll have the 2 best players in this game. But special teams, details, O-line, D-line, let's be honest with Colorado, it is a timeshare pitch. They've got an immaculate website. The IG is humming. Very little substance with Colorado. You remember that? Remember that when he got there? Remember that Deion was talking about he brought in that new handbag, and Nebraska's a duffel bag. One program feels like a Gucci bag. One feels like a duffel bag. But I got to be honest, you can get more into the duffel bag. It travels well. Here was Deion this week on facing Nebraska.
I have a ton of respect for Matt Rule. He was a professional, did a phenomenal job, maybe not the job that he aspired to do, but he has a ton of experience, and I love what he's accomplished in his college coaching career. So I look for them to be physically tough and posing, try to run the football. They have a freshman quarterback that had a pretty good day last week, but we got to do what we do. We got to go in there and do what we're capable of doing.
Remember when Deion got to Colorado, he said, when all the guys start hitting the portal, I'm bringing my own bag. It's a Louis. I know, it's cool. Colorado's cooler than Nebraska. They're flashier than Nebraska. They got a better quarterback than Nebraska. Probably the 2 best players in the game. But this is a meeting of opposites. One team's strength is defense. One team's weakness is defense. One team wants to run the ball. One team will pass the ball. One team's inexperienced at quarterback. One team's great at quarterback. One coach is all about flash. Matt Rule has a history in college football. Is that he comes into a program, first thing he does is close the gap. And last year, Nebraska lost a lot of close games. They lost a lot of games by 3 and 4 points. The second year, this year, Nebraska's going to win those games close. And then next year, they'll win them by larger gaps. A 3-step program, Matt Rule's history. Don't blame him for Carolina. David Tepper, that's a circus. So it's a fascinating game, different personalities. One team's very transfer portal. One team's very high school recruiting. Nebraska just had their best high school recruiting class in the history of the program. That includes Tom Osborne. So now everybody's going to get quarterbacks in the transfer portal, so I don't even count that. That's a whole different ballgame. But this game is really fascinating. I hope Deion succeeds. I think he's good for college football. I'm into the personality. I said that when he got hired, I remember thinking, this is an odd fit. No, it's going to work. Colorado needs attention. He brings it. But now we also can take a step back here after a couple years and go, well, I'm not. Is this just one of those timeshare pitches? You know, they ring the bell. They give you the champagne if you buy. A couple years later, it's like you're hiring an attorney. You're putting it in the classified ads in the newspaper. Kind of trying to sell your timeshare. So we'll see. I like Nebraska. You don't. I like Nebraska to win this game. I think they're going to ugly it up, run the football, keep it out of Shedeur Sanders' hands. But for 2 unranked teams, this is a really interesting matchup.
It's probably the 3rd most interesting game of the weekend.
Texas, Michigan's 1.
Right. And then Iowa State's always, it's like a battle. Yeah. But yeah, this Colorado team.
This is a personality clash game. 2 different programs, 2 different personalities.
So how much do you think Deion's upset that his son isn't being talked about as the #1 pick and it's all Carson Beck?
Well, it just depends.
That's what I think prompted this nonsense from him. Oh, our guys aren't discussed enough. What?
Well, Shedeur Sanders is really talented.
Yeah.
He is a more accurate, in my opinion, he's a more accurate thrower than Caleb Williams. I think Caleb's more talented, but in terms of he can throw moving left, he can throw moving right, he throws moving forward. Shedeur's his ball placement Moving pocket is very good. He's very, very talented, and his mobility is great. You know, he's in the NIL generation. He gets into his feels, whatever. But he's good. There's no disputing it. The kid can play. But I'd like to see Colorado talk a little less. I'm all for talking. You got to start winning an occasional game against the power conference. Just one. Over your last 6. I'd like one. That
qualifies as shots fired right there.
1 in 5, I'd give you a little chatter. Like 0-6. Yeah,
hey, Deion, say less.
Well, I mean, again, he's part of the Colorado experiment is getting attention. I get that too. Blazing. It was in Kansas City. They came within an inch of winning. Don't overreact to that. So that's the one thing to don't overreact. And don't overreact, and everybody will in the media because that's what they do. They'll overreact to rookie quarterbacks struggling in week 1. Bo Nix is going to struggle. Jaden Daniels may struggle. Caleb's going to struggle. Like, take a deep breath. Rookie quarterbacks in week 1 are nervous. They're not going to play well. Okay? None of them are going to play perfect. They're going to throw bad picks and be lost and be anxious and nervous. So don't overreact to last night, and don't overreact to rookie quarterback's first game. There are 3 things I would keep my eye on because just because you don't have to overreact, that doesn't mean you don't see signs of trouble. Number 1, Russell Wilson with the Steelers. Russell Wilson's 35. He got injured during a conditioning test for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he hasn't been healthy since. So he was hyper-athletic at his best. He's not that. He's banged up. You got Justin Fields, very popular in that locker room. This is a bad O-line, missing a starter who's out for a while. There's a way Pittsburgh could lose and it would be fine, but if they can't move the chains, that thing could get ugly really fast. The second thing to watch out for, the Jets' offensive line. Aaron Rodgers does not want pressure near his knees or his feet. If you go to Aaron's last year in Green Bay, when he was under pressure, he was awful. He had a passer rating of 52. Old quarterbacks, Eli, Brady, Manning, they don't want to get hit. They got $250 or more million in the bank. They want to win, but they'll live for another day. So if Aaron is letting that puppy go early, he is not patient, he's not sitting in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers, under pressure his last year in Green Bay, he wasn't there for it. He wasn't going to handle it. He's going to throw it away and start over. Keep your eye on that. The Jets O-line is improved. The personnel is improved, but it's all new. And cohesion on the O-lines is a rough sled in 2024. They don't play in the preseason. Number 3, if Dak is sitting back there, the Browns roll over coverage, and CeeDee Lamb is doubled, and there's just nothing else there. I know y'all love Jake Ferguson, but he is not Shannon Sharp. He is not Tony Gonzalez. Let's slow down here. If you look at Dak's numbers, when he targets CeeDee Lamb, he has a 120 passer rating. When he doesn't, he has an 88 passer rating. So there is a way to play Dak. Double CeeDee Lamb. Make him go somewhere else. And if Cleveland does that effectively, you are giving a roadmap to everybody that Dallas plays. So Dallas loses, CeeDee Lamb gets frustrated. You're just showing every team this is the way to beat them because they got a nice tight end, not a great one, a weak running back room, and no real dominant number 2 receiver. So keep your eye on Russell and the Steelers. Okay, keep your eye on Aaron Rodgers' feet. He gets happy feet and starts throwing it away. That's telling you he doesn't trust that O-line at all. And he's going to get real frustrated real quick with Nat Hackett and Robert Saleh. He's not going to take the heat. He's going to point fingers. Here's the other thing. I got so many things going on right now. In fact, I'm going to save that one. Hold on. I'm going to save that note. I want to talk about this. So I want Deion Sanders to succeed because I think big personalities are good for college football, and I love college football.